Leopardi, Shakespeare, two troubadours, Donne, Sidney, then Spencer, Milton, Chaucer, and Yeats, and Monk, Horan, Roche, Blake, Coleridge, Dante, Baudelaire, and Stork and other authors, Stork and autori, poetry after the classics. And thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed Marinere. Hi everyone, and welcome to Poetry After the Classics. What? You expected a multilingual intro? A translation? Do you have any idea how long the poem we are dealing with today is? I am not going to translate it. So the start of today's episode is not a translation, but rather a tune which I made for the poem. Let's try to briefly go over the history of the tune. So, the first step happens on the 12th of October 2011, where, according to my diary, surgens in mente abui ideam generalem musicae pro Rime of the Ancient Marinere. As I got up, I had in mind a general idea for a tune to this poem. And the tune was presumably set to thought up for the first stanza of the poem, and then it was meant to be repeated. So the first stanza would have gone, "It is an ancient mariner, he stoppeth one of three. By thy long grey beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stopp'st thou me?" There are a couple more steps from way back when, at a time when I did not write this down, so I do not have dates for this. I only wrote this down in 2021, so way later. But anyways, the first step was a variation for the tune of line 2. So, putting it onto line 2 of stanza 2, instead of the normal, if you will, "And I am next of kin," I decided to add an extra note in the form of, "And I am next of kin." And then the other step is noticing that some stanzas had 5 lines instead of 4. And the one I saw evidently had the structure of 2 plus 3, so I came up with a way to musicate this extra line. And so the full stanza would have gone, "With throats unslaked, with black lips baked, we could not laugh nor wail. Through utter drought all dumb we stood. I bit my arm, I sucked the blood, and cried, 'A sail, a sail!'" At which point we skip forward to December the 3rd, 2021, when I finally decided to write this thing down in my corpus of musical works. And at that point, I noticed that some stanzas were actually in the form of 3 plus 2 rather than 2 plus 3. And for those, I just decided to repeat the tune of line 1 for line 2. That same day, I also noticed that some stanzas actually had a structure of 2 plus 4. So what did I do then? Because, I didn't have something to deal with that. And what I did was the following. "The western wave was all aflame, the day was well nigh done. Almost upon the western wave rested the broad bright sun, when that strange shape drove suddenly betwixt us and the sun." So I just repeated the tune of the standard 2 lines with 1 note changed at the end. And then I noticed that there were some stanzas of the form 4 plus 2. And what I thought of was to alter the tune for line 2. And then as I wrote that down, I thought of integrating that variation of line 2 from late 2011, from what was probably late 2011, because I must have done those 2 variations while we were dealing with the rhyme at school. And the result of that, with an extra step of altering the values of some notes, was with sloping moss and dipping prow, as who pursued with yell and blow, still treads the shadow of his foe, and forward bends his head. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast, and westward we fled. But that is not all, because I came back to this on the 1st of February 2024, in preparation for this video, and then I noticed a stanza with 9 lines, which were like 3 plus 3 and then another 3. So what did I do? But that, of course, was not all, because I had to establish clearly what each stanza's tune would be. And I was not going to make the score for all of this. So what I did was, February the 10th and 11th, I prepared a post with this history in it. And then for each variation of these tunes, I gave a label with a number and a letter, and possibly a prime, in case the line was supposed to start with the stress on the first syllable, because that also happens. There's also lines which start with like extra syllables that don't really scan, but I didn't give notation for that. So, and then I went through the text of the poem, and I gave a tag to each and every line. So now I'm reading the lyrics with that, and I am hopefully ready to sing it all with this guitar. So sit back and enjoy the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Enjoy listening. It is an ancient mariner, he stoppeth one of 3, by thy long grey beard and glittering eye. Now wherefore stopp'st thou me? The bridegroom's doors are opened wide, and I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set, mayst hear the merry din. He holds him with his skinny hand, there was a ship for thee. Hold off, unhand me, greybeard Luke, eftsoons his hand drop he. He holds him with his glittering eye, the wedding guest is still, and listens like a 3-year child, the mariner hath his will. The wedding guest sat on a stone, he cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed Marinere. The ship was steered, the harbor cleared, merrily did we draw, below the kirk, below the hill, below the lighthouse top. The sun came up upon the left, out of the sea came he, and he shone bright, and on the right, but down into the sea. Higher and higher every day, till over the mast at noon, the wedding guest here beat his breast, for he heard the loud bassoon. The bride hath paced into the hall, red as a rose is she, nodding their heads before her goes the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest he beat his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed Marinere. And now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong. He struck with his o'ertaking wings, and chased us south along, with sloping mast and dipping prow, as who pursued with yell and blow, till treads the shadow of his foe, and forward bends his out roared the blast, and southward we fled. And now there came both mist and snow, and it grew wondrous cold, and ice mast high came floating by, as green as emerald. And through the drifts the snowy cliff did send a dismal sheen, nor shapes of men nor beasts can the ice was all between. The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled like noises in a swound. At length it crossed an albatross, tore all the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian song. We hailed it in God's name. It ate the food it ne'er had eat, and round it flew. The ice did split with a thunder fit, the helmsman steered us through, and a good south wind sprung up behind. The albatross did follow, and every day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. It mist or cloud on mast or shroud, it perched for vespers done, whilst all the night through fog white glimmered the white moonshine. God save the ancient mariner from the things that plague thee thus. Why look'st thou so with my crossbow? I shot the albatross. The sun now rose upon the right, out of the sea came he, still hid in mist, and on the left went down into the sea. And the good south wind still blew behind, but no sweet bird did follow, nor any day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. And I had done a hellish thing, and it would work and woe, for all the bird that kills the bird that made the breeze to blow. Ah, wretch, said they, such birds to slay that made the breeze to blow. Nor dim nor red like God's own head, the glorious sun uprist. Then all the bird that killed the bird that brought the fog and mist. 'Twas right, said they, such birds to slay that bring the fog and mist. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrows streamed up free. We were the first that ever burst into that silent sea. Down dropped the breeze, the sails dropped down, 'twas sad as sad could be, and we did speak only to break the silence of the sea. All in a hot and copper sky, the bloody sun at noon, right up above the mast it stand, no bigger than the moon. Day after day, we start, no breath, no motion, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Water, water everywhere, and all the ports did shrink. Water, water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. The very deep did rot, oh Christ, that ever this should be. Yes, slimy things did crawl with legs upon the slimy sea. About in reel and rout, the dead fire stands that night. The water like a witch's oil burnt green and blue and white. And some in dreams assured were of the spirit that plagued us so. 9 fathom deep had followed us from the land of mist and snow, and every tongue through utter drought was withered at the about my neck was hung